Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is C Certified Brewhead, and welcome to episode 92 of Brewer Arnaud, the podcast Adjunct series. We are back again. This is a great episode this evening, folks, as they always are, but we haven't touched base with these guys in about 3.5 years. I really enjoy catching back up with breweries that we've had on, and I try not to do too long in between episodes, but sometimes it just happens, and it's pretty interesting when you catch back up with people and see what they've been doing, and so much has changed obviously in that amount of time. So this one's gonna be super fun. So guys, please welcome Arnaud and Jesse of Le Dispensaire in the building. Hey, there they are. How you doing, fellas? Oh shit, I had you muted. Fucking idiot I am.
I'm doing great.
See? Look at this, like I haven't done this before. Jesus Christ. Yeah, welcome welcome back. I know, welcome for the first time, Jesse. Great to have you guys. Super keen to catch back up and see what's been happening. I imagine it's probably been a lot. 3.5 years.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
And already, it does, doesn't it? It's just crazy, man. I think we don't even, I don't know about you guys, I've lost complete track of how time works. Every time I say to my girlfriend all the time, like, yeah, that happened like yesterday. Like, oh, that, no, what I always, it's the other way. I'm like, yeah, that happened like 2 months ago. She's, no, it was last week.
I'm like, that was yesterday.
I count time in fingers now.
You what, sorry?
Or the opposite.
The opposite.
It's sometimes it's like a year ago. No, it's actually 2 years ago. It's
It's so crazy. Yeah, I guess it's just, yeah.
Thanks for having us on there anyway. So
yeah, man, genuine pleasure.
Yeah.
So first things first, we're going to get to the beers, and it's extra cool because now we have you guys in cans. Last time we had you on, it was strictly growlers, so this is super fun. And we are starting with this bad boy right here, a style I don't get to drink too much, an ESB. And I've actually really started to appreciate this in a different way right now, so I'm really looking forward to it. Can you, while we're pouring it, can you tell us a bit about this beer, boys? Called Mon Pain Royal.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, like you said, it's not a very common style, here in Quebec, and for many reasons, I guess. What I like, what told me to brew this beer is the microbrewery Charlevoix. They do this Vache Folle series, and they had this ESB, and I had it many times, and I really like the malty side of it and the typical British taste of this beer. Really quenchable, but full body, full taste, and I wanted to do one for our own, brewed our way, and we did it with a few Quebec hops.
Sick.
That added a little piney bitterness to it. Really like the result. Hope you like it too.
Hell yeah, love it, boys. Welcome. Cheers. Getting in ya. Oh, I'm still pouring. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Smells great. Amazing head. Delightful. Super. I guess yeah. Maybe you could talk through it better than I can. I like lots of like caramel malts in here. Super smooth.
Yep.
The bitterness is hitting up front, but this is my first beer of the night, so I don't know if my palate is a little like just needs to warm up to it a bit. Sometimes that happens.
Yep.
The head is beautiful, really smooth though, really creamy. Yeah, tell us more about it.
Yeah, well, like you said, it's perfect actually for a starter. Right? It's very smooth, not too strong as in alcohol and in bitterness. Malty. It's a meal in the way that the malts are really there. It's full body,
5%,
but really easy to drink. Perfect starter.
I love it. Yeah, it's actually a perfect one. What's the vibe been like with this type of style? I've noticed that, like I imagine, I don't know. I was saying to Jesse yesterday, I know that like you're like a 60-year-old dude already, in like your 30-year-old body. So I mean that with love. Like I love
Like
you're a young cat. You're super young to be doing what you're doing, but you're also being like the type to sort of lean towards the traditional stuff. You know, before
Yes.
it's like it's become cool again to be into the traditional beers. Yeah.
I love what you're saying. Yes, I actually get along a little more with older brewers than younger ones, just because I was there. I was enjoying beers at the same time that they were starting to brew. So I know what styles they were looking for, and they're still looking for. Maybe out of nostalgia, but I think it's. You get a little more uh, you can play with the ingredients a little more, I think, more than all of the hops that you see nowadays. It's not a bad thing. I love New England IPAs, but I mean, if I want to start with the beer, I'm not going for a New England, I'm going for this, but not just this, but I mean something a little lighter.
I feel that. What I was getting at, I'm just taking one word notes. I forgot to tell Jesse I'm not being rude on my phone. I did the photo. I'm just taking the review notes as you guys were talking through it. I don't want anyone to think that I'm being rude. That would be horrible. Okay. So I've noticed though, right? So even with myself, I know you and I talked about it in the past. I'm pretty into all the trendy stuff for the most part. But I found over the last, I don't know, 2 years or so, maybe more, that like really, really, like if I could take anything, I would go for a lager over anything these days. Like, and I found that alongside that new attraction for me, this style that I normally would like an ESB, that I would be like, come on, really an ESB? Fuck that. Like now I'm super into it. My room's like, oh, sick ESB for tonight. Like to kick it off, hell yeah. And
There you
I'm
go.
like, there's a newfound appreciation for the style. So I was curious from both of you guys, like, what's the response from consumers? Like, you know, maybe the older folks are already, you know, more likely to enjoy it, but have the younger people been like gravitating towards it as well? Like, who's buying this beer? I guess is what I'm asking.
Good question.
My dad.
Maybe
My,
Your dad.
my uncles.
Yeah,
Well, it's not the quickest seller, but it stays good for a long time. It's
Okay.
always good. I think depending on the region, also in Quebec, if you go for sales, if you're actually looking for that, certain regions prefer certain types of beers. I won't name any regions, but Montreal they like their IPAs, and maybe Quebec City they prefer having their reds, their ambers, their lagers. But we're all hoping for everything to change back to lagers and to clean, crisp beers. For the best, in our opinion.
I love it. Is there what's the region that, I mean, so you're saying compared to Montreal, Quebec City are going for more this type of stuff? Like, are there? Is it more just like the more rural you go, maybe the
More rural, yeah.
traditional their beer tastes are?
I'm not saying Quebec City is rural there. I'm
No, just smaller. Yeah.
But yeah, more rural.
They'll
And
kill you.
I think they're more used to the classic. You know, when someone walks into a store and they ask, say, I want a Russe, I want an amber beer. They don't really know what the Northeast IPA is. This is maybe one of the go-tos.
For that. Okay, I like that. I think it's interesting as well. I feel like this happens even less in Quebec, just being that it's more maybe traditionally like the Belgian and farmhouse type of stuff, so you don't get as many English styles here. So this probably stands out even more, maybe in the market, that it's sort of this more interesting thing that maybe the kids are starting to get into. Like, I'd like to see that anyway. Like, there's a few people I can think of off the top of my head that are beer people, whether they're Instagrammers or whatever, and they love this shit. Like, they lose their minds over these and like British milds. And
Nice.
I find that super
I love
interesting.
miles.
Yeah, they're great. What is the difference, by the way? So an extra special bitter is, I don't even know if I said that for people who don't know, because maybe we have some people who are just haze people who don't know. What is an extra special bitter, say, in comparison to something like a British mild?
Yeah, so let's start by a bitter, actually. That's a normal kind of pale for in the UK. So bitter is of course, a little more bitter than their normal pale ale, but it's still very, very drinkable. Around 3 ABV, 4.
Okay.
ESB is this type of beer a little special, extra special. So a little more alcohol. It's still not very high for us in America. So ours is 5%, pretty normal. And so a little more malty, a little more alcohol, a little more hops as well. So it's just like you could say it's what's a double IPA is for a bitter. So it's just a bitter on steroids, let's say.
Yo, that's crazy. I don't know why I never put that together in my mind, like extra special bitter, that it was just a larger version of that. Jeez, that's okay. That makes so much sense. All right, I love it. This is great. It's almost like the more I feel like it's going to start to change a little bit as well. Like I took it right out of the fridge, and I feel like this like extra.
That's why.
Yeah, you gotta let it warm up a little bit.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. It's beautiful. All right, so I'd love to get into your beer histories. I know we've had you on before. So it was, I believe, episode 33 from the original series and 99 from the original series. So if you want to go in depth about Arnaud's history, that's all there. And we did it at the Dispensaire back in 2018. So it might be cool. Whoever wants to go first. So Jesse, obviously go nuts because we haven't had you on it. I know you can give people whatever you like. But I'd love to know how you both got into beer and then how the brewery came about. Like how did everything happen? Because you guys are in a really interesting space and you were doing something very different at the time that I probably haven't seen much of at all. Yeah.
How I got into beer, my dad, I think when I was, let's say 18, just to be safe here legally, he told me he bought me a car for Christmas or for my birthday, but what he actually meant was a car boy. I didn't know what it was, but Touri, so a car boy to ferment beer. And when I was really young, you know how our parents always sacrifice so much for us. God bless them. He made his own beer at home in the basement just to save a couple extra bucks. So I think he moved that passion to beer to me by buying me Carboy. And it took me a couple of years to get going there. But after starting university, there was this brew club. And we had like access to very cheap ingredients. Well, the exact same prices that what we're paying as a brewery right now. Right. So with a couple of roommates, we just started brewing on to casual Sundays, crack a beer, brew a beer. It was a lot cheaper than buying 2-4s. I mean, we still drank a lot of Silver Creek and a lot of Moosehead, but it's fun to brew now and then. So that's how it started for us. And then I think over the years, there was like a law change in Quebec where you could start filling up growlers directly from the taps a couple of years back. So ideally, like initially we wanted to just buy kegs from around the world and just have the dispensary a place where people would bring their bottles and would just fill it up, just a storefront, to go easy peasy. But then they added some more rules to it, more strings to it, where you had to brew the beer, so you couldn't just buy kegs from everywhere else. So kind of like project kind of got more complicated. But we were pretty naive and young and motivated, and just went through it. So that's kind of like how we got there. Still kept the growlers, but yep.
Okay, I love that. We'll come back to that then. That's perfect. Yeah, go on. I know, please.
Yeah, and I was just about to explain how we kind of met and how he heard about me, actually, because I was working at Helm back in the days. And it's actually a friend of a friend that introduces each other. And that's where we met at Helm, had a pint, and he told me all about this crazy idea. And I think just the same day in the same hour, I just told him, no, fuck that, I'm not doing this. And yeah. And I thought about it maybe for a week or two. I don't know what they were doing during that time, probably just still working on the project. And I thought to myself, like, well, it's been close to 8 years that I've been working at Helm. Maybe I need some change and a little more responsibilities and just a little more freedom to brew my own recipes and try it out. And these guys seems fun, and I mean, really laid back dudes, fun to hang out with, and so I guess I called them back, and we started from there.
Nice.
The rest is history.
Okay. And what year was did everything start? Was it 2017, 18?
2018, like we incorporated in 2016. Took us about 2 years to open up. Arnaud was somewhere in the middle there. So yeah, time flies, that's for sure. But I just stopped counting years and years, and I just count them in beers. I just count how many beers I drink, and
that's all that matters. I love it.
The beer timeline.
You're right. It's the makes it much more simple because we keep forgetting all the rest.
Yeah.
So so the place for people who haven't been there, I don't know if it's changed, but last time I was there, there was the back area was significantly larger than the front area. The front was primarily a bunch of fridges and some taps where you were at the time. Anyway, we were allowed to give like those little mini, I don't know what they were, like 2 ounce, 3 ounce samplers, so people could try them and they could purchase different size growlers. The back you had a bunch of tanks. Excuse me. And you were making, I'm pretty sure it was similar-ish to one of the beers we're going to have tonight. It was like the newer version of something we drank back then, which is cool. What is it looking like now as far as the space? Has that changed at all? Being that the sort of direction that you're going has changed? Yeah,
a lot. Yeah, you should come.
It's not changing.
I should.
Yeah, we're working on the space on Sunday too, so it's never ending.
Never ending. So it's what's different about it now? Like, is that front area, the customer area, completely opened up?
Oh yeah,
totally. Go ahead, Jesse. Tell him.
Yeah,
please.
It's a typical tap room, I think now. We had Arnaud's girlfriend here draw up some beautiful plans to have a classic style tap room. So where you had the fridge would be self-serve, and now we just had a very long bar. I think we have about maybe 8 bar stools or 6 bar stools in front of the bar. Where people can come sit down and just talk to the barman, barmaid, brewer. So usually the brewer's always there, or assistant brewer. Well, most of the staff is always there. So, and you can have a couple of pints. You can taste stuff. We didn't have our permit to serve alcohol on site. We got that like last August. So it took a long time because rules and stuff. It always takes a while, but. We made it through, and we got the permits. So now we're serving pints, which is cool for the summertime. We're on not the only, or maybe the first, or the oldest, or one of the only permanent walk-through rue piétonne, walk-through streets where there's no cars. So it's a lot of restaurants, a couple bars, and us. Beautiful. And in front of the brewery, summertime, so from the 15th of April this year to 15th of November, this year is a bit longer, terrasse season, we have some picnic tables down, and we have a classic beer garden, full service there, so change a lot.
That's so cool, man. I love. So you're in Prince Arthur, for people who haven't seen that, which is just off Saint Laurent
exactly.
in Montreal, and it's like down in like Plateau, and it's beautiful. It's always one of my favorite places. In Montreal, and they did it up the last time I was there. Once again, it's been a while. Like I didn't really do too much these last couple of years, but last time I went around there, I noticed they changed the whole plans up, and the way they laid out the area was super nice. So I can imagine that with like the terrasse and stuff, like that whole area with all this dope, like bigger areas, beer garden type stuff, it'd be such a vibe.
Yeah,
particularly on a beautiful day.
A beautiful day, especially in the festival season. It's pretty cool. We're close to the metros. We're really downtown. It's a walking area. There's lots of things to do.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And a lot of beer to drink.
Oh, yeah. So then when you guys opened, and I know you opened the place, right? Like you were the brewer that opened.
Oh, yeah.
So what did you guys, first of all, what type of beers did you open with? And two, like how did you just like go about deciding that? Was it like, hey, Jesse, you and your partners were like, we were thinking we want to do this, and then Arnaud was like, okay, well, I'd like to do this, and like how did that conversation go? Like how, for people who might not know, like if you've got the hired brewer and then the owners who are involved in the business who have an idea, and maybe those ideas don't always click. So I'd be curious to see how that works for you guys.
It's really funny. Yeah, sure. Yeah. It really brings me back because I don't know. we didn't know what was going to happen with the hype and with all the new beers and stuff. The first brew we did was an English pale ale, so quite similar to Mon Pain Royal, what we were drinking right now. A little less malty, a little less strong, lighter. I don't know. It just sounded a great idea to me to make a kind of a blonde, not really blonde, but amber blonde, really drinkable beer as a first beer. I don't know why. I just wanted this, and Jesse was really down with it. I guess he was just too excited for a first beer to argue. It was too excited to argue, and it was actually delicious. And so then we brewed the second batch was the session IPA, right?
Session IPA was second batch. Third batch was what we're drinking right now, the ESB actually. So we went to more malty type to begin with. Yeah, we started with malty beers, which I think, I mean, in retrospect, maybe it wasn't the most popular stuff, but they're thirst quenchers, that's for sure. They're really good. I think we went more for easy drinking styles. And, you know, when you have like a top quality brewer, top artist like Arnaud, you just don't want to like start saying, no, you do this, you do that, man. You just do what you want to do, and what he loves to do is what he do best. So there you go. So he brewed, and these are excellent beers.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we're aiming for a big variety of different styles, so everybody can be happy with what's on tap or what's in can.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had to struggle with the hype and do a little IPAs there and there, and even the milkshake IPA. Yes, Craig, we did brew a vanilla lactose IPAs
because we forgot about that one.
You know? Yeah, we had to, and it was okay, I guess. But there was a little less passion in this recipe. It was good. I mean, it was good, but it's not my style. It's not my vibe. It was the vibe of the moment, I guess, and we did what we had to do. I do not regret, but I won't do that recipe again. It's not my style.
We never had.
I leave that. No, yeah. And we'll leave that to the others. I mean, some people do it great. They brew some awesome beers that I don't drink every day, but I mean, it's always fun to taste. So yeah, not my style. That's all.
That's cool. So then, like, is that what happened then? Like, I know you just decided what happened, or did you sort of, like, I know Jesse and the team, were you like, hey, why don't we do something like this? And then you talk about it, or was it more just like, I don't know, Arnaud can do whatever he wants?
I mean, Jesse's not hard to convince. He just likes, he loves beer. I mean, he loves beer. He knows what's popular, that's for sure. But I mean, so when we have a huge IPA, like tons of hops, because we do them, we'll have some of them tonight. But I mean, they're good, and he likes them. But when we go back to this kind of beer, this ESB, or even a little lager there, or we try to change every now and then, and he just goes like, well, yeah, you're right. This is what we like to do. This is what I like to drink, and let's do it.
And we have a great lager coming up, and I think we haven't brewed our German lager for maybe a year now. It's been lagering for 3 months, 4 months.
Wow.
Ooh, every time I go, I just drink from the sample port there, and we're canning next Sunday. All right. Can't wait.
Yeah. That's sick. 3 or 4 months lagering. That's insane. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of because of COVID there, but
Gotcha. Still. That's plenty of time. Okay, so
silver lining to everything.
Of course, right? Great point, because that is the one thing. If and it's good you can do it now before the summer picks up, when you've got some tank space to sit on for a bit. Yep. So as far as the intent, so you talked about the type of style. So as far as the intention, you guys opened right in the middle of, like you were saying, in that sort of when the trends kind of started to really get some steam. Because prior to that, there wasn't really trends like that. There was the tongue-gripping bitterness war from the West Coast IPAs and stuff. But
Good times, good times.
I kind of miss that too, right? But that was kind of sometimes. Yeah, sometimes, yeah. But that was kind of it as far as the the earlier times as far as trends. So you guys opened there. Where did you see your brewery fitting in to the Montreal or the overall Quebec scene as far as what you were offering? What were you trying to fill a gap that wasn't being offered because maybe more people were gravitating towards these trendier things, and you kind of knew that like I like ESBs and stuff, so someone's gonna want this shit. Like not everybody wants haze and fruit and sours and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we just didn't really think about the other people and just focus on brewing the best beer we can.
Okay.
Honestly,
That's pretty
I
much
remember
it. Yeah.
though, like remember though, like when we go hiking in the Green Mountains or Adirondacks, upstate New York, there was always this hype, this little hype, this no one really knew about it, and they would like kind of follow the truck to find some Sip of Sunshine. I forget the name of the brewery.
Lawson's Finest Liquids.
Called Sip of Sunshine. Yeah, and exactly.
Yeah.
And
Good.
Heady Toppers, they would sell it right away, and that was the new shit, So I mean, everything comes from the States first, unfortunately. But no, we were just focusing on ourselves and making the best beer we can, and like we had our own issues, our own difficulties, our own challenges, maybe more to figure out. But just having fun. Like, man, we have a brewery, we have tanks full of beer. People are buying it. I mean, we can just drink a lot of beer. It's like everything was new. Also, we were into growlers, bottling. We didn't have top end machines or anything. Everything is by hand also. So Arnaud, he brews by hand. There's no machines there. It's all him. So I think it's not easy, man. It's a workout. But it was pretty much that, focusing on our little project, our little corner of Montreal, and that's about it. Yeah,
doing the thing.
And it hasn't been that easy. I mean, it was kind of a choice, but I mean, we were seeing all of those IPAs and telling ourselves like, yeah, maybe we should hop in. That's it. Yeah, sorry. Maybe we should hop that train and brew our own. And I mean, it was a wise decision to do so. But I think that that decision allowed us to continue to brew our really drinkable beers and be happy with it.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, I love that. So you mentioned and I think what's an interesting thing about you guys is that, like you said, it's called the Dispensaire, the dispensary. The idea being that people can come and just buy growlers. So the last time I was there, it was still all growlers in different sizes, and that was a pretty unique concept, like you said, Jesse. That it was something that the Quebec government only brought in, like I can't remember 2016, 2017 or something like that, after being basically illegal forever, and. So you guys would have gone from that. So you were like, before we even move on, like how did because you were doing something that didn't really exist, like other places kind of sold growlers, but it was so few and far between. Like I can barely think of any places that proactively sold growlers. Maybe they allowed growler fills, like you could bring in your bottle and clean it and fill it up. Cool. But you guys like owned that space. So what was that like? Were there consumers that would come in and they were like, oh, like where's the bottles, where's the cans, what the fuck is this, like what's the what was that like early on as far as how people were like understood what
a lot of people, like, some love it, some hated it, most because of the volume. I mean, yeah, it's so polarizing. Like I personally like to have a liter of beer, but some people it's just too much.
Right.
And it's like more educating, like, well, you can open it up. If you drink less than a half, you should be okay. If you tightly squeeze it, put it in the fridge right away. If you drink more than half, then there's too much space in the bottle where the gas just comes out. So there was a lot of education doing that. And also we wash the bottles by hand. So like environmentally, it is still by far the best container for if you're not distributing as much. If it's only local, a person comes in, gets the growler, walks home, brings it back. We rinse it out. Well, we wash it, rinse it, fill it, and then the cycle continues. As the cans, they come from Kentucky in the U.S., or from China, and the aluminum takes a lot of energy to destroy or create a can. So for us, that was pretty much the challenge. The volume, and that's pretty much it. And then just kind of realizing, oh shit, now we have to sell all this beer because we got loans to pay back. So so we're just hoping that people come and buy more and more growlers, and
Right.
and then more and more growlers to wash. And so that was pretty much the thing that had to be figured out.
Okay. Were people like, did they, the people who really enjoyed it, were they like, was there a group of people that just embraced it, that like they loved you for the fact that you do something that's so unique? Like, I imagine you would have.
Yeah, we still have diehard fans of growlers still.
Yeah, I feel like the people who love growlers love growlers, like it's their thing. So, yeah. There's like a certain type. I've got a few friends that I know that like are just growler people. They always were. And they just appreciate that format. So it's almost like it's not for everybody, but those who do enjoy it, like really, really are passionate about it. So did you get people asking you back then, like, hey man, like, are you guys gonna do cans or smaller bottles or anything, or was that a common thing?
Yeah, it's more and more there as the market shifted towards cans. People kind of got used to it and preferred having cans. It's convenient, it's lighter. It's not glass, obviously, it won't break. The seal is a bit safer. All of those things make that people prefer. And also, like, we had deposits on our growlers. Like nowadays, they're very expensive. But we started, there was $1 deposit on the growler. That was it. Bucket growler was pretty simple. I don't know. For us, it just wanted to be simple. And yeah, we got some people asking for it. Well, mostly they just wanted to drink draft, but we couldn't offer that for them.
Yeah.
Still.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But now you can, so that's all changed.
Now we can,
which is great. So,
yeah.
The cans, did that happen as a result of the pandemic, or was that something that was in the works beforehand? What was the deal?
No, totally pandemic. We most of our volume was sold to bars and restaurants through barrels, and the rest would bottle. Like we have a 2-head bottler; it's very manual. So you can't really, like, if you're chipping away at a tank, it's going to take you like all night long or like 2 days to get it empty. Exactly. So we have to do a lot of kegs. Kegging is quick and pretty easy to move barrels of beer.
Mm-hmm.
So when all the bars and restaurants closed, well, kind of like we were kind of like screwed. So we started bottling a lot, and then when you bottle a lot, you get a lot of bottles back, and you got to wash a lot of bottles. And we just kind of had either no staff because of issues we all know. So there was kind of like a problem, and then the market at the same time was shifting towards cans. So we kind of like had to jump ship to survive, which is unfortunate.
Would you prefer to not have had to move to cans and keep it how you were?
Yeah, financially, yes, and also I don't know. I just prefer the growler.
Okay, and the clients though, what's the response been from your customers and stuff? Have they been like, oh wow, this is cans, because maybe it's something that's more wider known, I guess, because growler is a bit of a niche thing. Like, were people just excited for it, or what was the vibe?
Well, moving to cans now, we're just kind of like one more can in a sea of cans. As of having a growler, there was, like you said, some niche things. So you had the people who just like would buy growlers, so they're maybe disappointed. And it's also very different when you look locally compared to sales out of the brewery. So if we ship beer to Quebec or Rimouski or Gaspésie, it's a lot easier to do in a can to ensure the quality, also for the shipping, the weight, the bottles, the glass, everything. But locally is way better to have the bottle. I think it's a better container.
Okay. Do you still?
So people. Oops, sorry. People were like glad that it was. I think I'm not sure if it was like 50-50, but like a lot of people were really glad that there was now cans, and some people, diehard fans, really preferred the growlers. So there was a time that we kind of had both, and then eventually switched totally to cans. A lot of people were happy, but a lot of people were disappointed. So I don't know if Jesse would have a better like a percentage of happy clients, happy customers, and unhappy ones. But I'd say 50-50. Like younger
Yeah,
people
probably.
prefer cans, but
Yeah.
local and a little older people would prefer bottles and growlers. So that's what I think.
Okay. Do you still do growlers? Because obviously you're not stopped from doing growlers, right? Like it's just cans are more of a you had to get your shit out there because people couldn't always come to the brewery, and maybe people weren't feeling safe to come. So the idea is that you were trying to distribute to get them in more places. Was that?
Yeah, it's more of an economical reason for that.
Okay.
And then like when you doing half and half, kind of is like hard because then you don't get the same price on bottles. It's you got to go one way or the other. We're gonna try and offer bottles this springtime, but we'll be filling the bottle directly from the tap. So it's only gonna be local at the store. So if local people have their bottles, they bring it over. If it's nice and clean, we'll sanitize it and we'll fill it from the tap directly from the barrel, and then they can bring it home, and that's it. Kind of like the good old days. That's how it used to be. You know, the term growler. That's where it comes from. The growling of the beer is where the word growler comes from. Is when your father, your grandfather would say, "Hey, go get me a pail of beer." So you go to your bar, and that's like maybe I don't know. I might be talking through my hat here, but it's in the 50s or 60s. I don't know where you can go. I think in Quebec, you could just go to a bar and then with a pail, an actual bucket, and they would fill from the tap the bucket of beer, and they'd put kind of like a half-ass lid on it, and then when you're walking around, like the beer is slushing against the container lids, and then it would growl because the gas would come out. So there would be this growling noise, and this is where the term growler comes from.
No shit.
So kind of like, yeah, good old days, and the new cans, I don't know, half and half.
Okay, interesting. I feel like that's it's cool that you're still able to do it. You still can do it, but I guess because I remember the fridge being full with different size, like maybe 1 liter, 2 liters, whatever, all different sizes. Which I thought that was really cool that you did offer multiple sizes because, like you said, some people might not want 2 liters of anything, but they buy multiple 1 liters of a bunch of beers type of thing. And I saw people do that when I've been there hanging out, and I've seen people come in just buying all different stuff. So instead of that, you're doing like a pour to order situation.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, but we will, eventually, soon.
Yeah. We'll start doing it, for the taps. But maybe
so
one
you
day
had to stop
we
it.
could get the bottle back on and start bottling beer in advance.
Okay.
We could start doing that again eventually. Just it's more of a time issue, staff issue.
Gotcha.
We're just trying to get the ball rolling again. So we'll see how it goes this springtime.
Okay.
We're hoping for a great summer.
So I think I misunderstood then. Like, so you had to actually stop completely the growler fills.
Yes.
Now that was a result of, like, why did you have to stop?
It's just that for us, as most of the volume was going through barrels of beer, and the small part of the tank of beer was going into bottles. When we could not sell any more barrels of beer to restaurants and bars because they all had to close. For us, we had to keep on selling beer because we had to stay open, as we were an essential service. Moving all that volume into bottles was not something we could do with the machines we had. It was too long. So we had to move to something else to have to change container. And canning is like a gazillion times quicker with these services now, these mobile canning services. They're really quick to empty your tanks out. So we had to move to that. And then like for it's an economy of scale, so you can't be doing half and half. You got to choose one or the other. So it's pretty much how it went.
Okay.
And with the markets shifting also.
Right. Okay. That makes
sense. I would add that we had a nice little not stickers but labels, and now that we have it on cans, it looks a little nicer. I'd say it's wider. You can see a little more information and stuff. We had to pack all of this in one little label. Now I think it's more fun to look at.
Yeah, it's a bigger canvas for the artist.
Yeah, I want to actually touch on this a little bit as well, just because I really, really enjoy what you've done with the can art. On that note, do you want to do the next beer, and then we'll get into the labels?
Absolutely, I'm ready.
So we're looking at the pale ale.
That's the Moa.
The Moa. So tell us about this one. A nice New Zealand pale ale.
Yeah, so actually, it's that beer is the little sister of the Gawabunga that we're gonna have right after this. So Gawabunga was one of our top sellers. So we had to we wanted a little something different that then keep on always brewing the Gawabunga. So this is what comes next? A little lighter in alcohol, a little lighter on the mouthfeel, and obviously New Zealand hops instead of Australian. So I personally love Nelson Sauvin. We have Southern Cross in there and Wakatu. Light hops, more on the green grapes, little kiwi in there. It's tropical but not too much. Very drinkable, easy drinking in the sun. I love this beer.
Hell yeah! Ooh. This is almost weird. I didn't expect it to be this hazy, bro. Just knowing how you get down.
Oh yeah, man! I knew you like it.
Look at this. All right. And once again, it was 5.5, so nice and crushable. I'm going to get you to repeat those hops in a second. When did you guys bring this beer in? Was it
where?
recent?
What? Sorry.
When did you start this one? Was it pretty recent?
Oh, good question. Maybe
the
a year ago or
32nd
something.
beer we brewed.
Okay.
32nd.
Yeah.
Number 32.
But
And we're up
Good
to
memory.
But
37 now. So it's pretty recent, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
last spring, maybe? A year ago?
Last spring? Okay. So what...
I think.
Being that you guys have typically not really gone towards the... I guess I haven't sipped it yet, so I couldn't tell you specifically if it's the sort of more... what's it called? You see what I'm getting at? The trend is the word I'm looking for. Like, this was this in your, I guess, your interpretation of this type of style too? Potentially, knowing I know that you do it your own way.
Yeah, it's nothing heavy. It's I didn't want anything harsh or too resonant, or it's what I would like to drink. It's the interpretation of an IPA that I would not hate to have a pint or two or three even. So to me, that's what beer is all about, having a one or two or three, if you just depending on how you feel. So this is an IPA. All you have all of the fruitiness, all of the haze, all of the hops in there, but on a low level. That's really easy drinking.
All right, boys, get in there. Cheers.
Cheers, Mike.
Boys.
Delightful. That's great. Nice, like everything you described it as. Super smooth, really nice and creamy. Really good, like totally crushable. I feel like it's got like nice, rammed with flavor, but it's not over the top. It's light. I actually feel like I sort of I stuffed the pizza down my face before we started. So having that ESB, and it was funny because you said it was like a meal in a can, and I kind of felt like that. It wasn't heavy, but it was in some weird way. Like it's only 5%,
like
so it's
a little
like
toast.
Yeah, like a little toasty little caramel thing. Whereas this feels like
royal
toast. Exactly, royal toast. So this feels like a little significantly lighter, fluffier, tropical. More of like that brighter sort of treat, which is intended. Yeah, it's obviously a different type of thing. I love it.
Yeah, tastes like a New Zealand cloud or something. Like it's
New Zealand cloud.
Very a little juice.
A little bit of a juice bomb. And what were the hops in this one again, bro?
So Nelson Sauvin, of course, Southern Cross, and Wakatu.
Southern Cross. Do you guys know what the Southern Cross is?
Sorry?
Do you guys know what the Southern Cross is?
That's a good question.
Do tell us.
Is it something about stars?
Yeah,
Is
it's
it constellation?
yeah, because it's like it's on the Australian flag. It's actually on the New Zealand flag too. Australian has a Commonwealth star. New Zealand has the It's like a cross with a little thing on the side, and you can actually see it
Right.
in the sky there. So
Awesome.
and all the it's like the most common. We call them bogans, kind of like rednecks. Like they get them as tattoos all the time. So you get like the fucking second cross right here, like yeah. That's it.
So you have to go into that hemisphere to see that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I have
so
to go
it's-
there one day.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's completely different sky, completely different.
So
The Earth is not flat.
and then tell us what's Moa, Craig.
So Moa is a Kiwi thing. So I'm from Australia, so that is racist. I'm playing.
I know.
Ooh, shots.
It's absolutely not. I know, right? You call anyone racist? Like, oh, yeah. I apologize. I'm not actually sure. I have heard. I know it's I believe it's. I know some of the Pacific Island term. It's sort of like because obviously New Zealand has the native indigenous New Zealand, the Maoris, and there's a whole bunch of Pacific Islanders. So obviously in Australia we can actually live in New Zealand without passport, and vice versa, with no
Cool.
papers. Well, until now, I thought, like back in the day, I thought that was whack as shit. Like, really, New Zealand? That's all we have? Because we're the big country and they're the smaller one, so we always used to be like, oh, fucking New Zealand. And now I think it's completely different because it is a beautiful place. But so you get a lot of people from Tonga, Samoa, the Cook Islands, Vanuatu, Tahiti, all that type of stuff are all in that region. So I couldn't tell you for sure if that word is which culture the word comes from. I've absolutely seen it before, but maybe you can tell me what it means. Or you don't.
Yes.
I have a
It's
hint.
actually-
I have a hint. It's on the can.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's on the
It's
can.
on the can.
Is that I wasn't sure if it was a dinosaur or like a emu.
It's in between both. It's exactly that.
Yeah?
It's yeah. So it's an extinct type of bird, huge type of emu, kind of dinosaur-ish that went extinct because of humans,
Of course.
and typical of New Zealand with you can see a very popular mountain. I forgot the name of the mountain behind the bird.
I should
but,
know. I don't know.
That's what it is.
Okay, that's dope. I
A
didn't know
lot
that.
of mountains in New Zealand. Yeah.
Yeah, the southern island has a lot of. It's like it looks very similar. My grandparents went. I've only been to Auckland, which is just like the capital city. It's like anything else. But the southern island, it looks like BC, like the Rockies. So I've seen a bunch of photos that looks insane.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Beautiful there. They got Queenstown with the skiing area and all that type of stuff that a lot of people go to because I don't think we have it as good in Australia. Like, so a lot of people go there because it's only 3 hours flight from like Melbourne to over there. I love it, man. That's great. This is super cool. I think this is like probably the most different beer I've had from, I can say, both from Dispensaire and from Arnaud period. Like, I've never had anything like this.
Oh yeah.
Which is great. I appreciate it. I think it's really cool, and it's a completely
Nice.
it's a great interpretation
Cheers.
of the style. Yeah, man, this is really good stuff. So I want to talk about the
I
can
didn't
art.
say it.
Go on. Sorry, brother.
Can I-
No, Jesse, no, please go.
I didn't say it's a style we invented, I guess. We just kind of went crazy with the people would just keep asking, avez-vous Nord-Est? You have Northeast, you have Northeast. So we just went like, okay, well, we have Australian, we have New Zealand, we have, so we just keep on getting, now we have Alsacien. So we just keep on changing places by the hops.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, that's how we try to be different a bit.
I like that. I think it's cool because it is sort of like I was gonna say it's still on trend with anything else I've had, to be honest. I don't think it's completely different or anything, but I like that it'll scratch that itch for the people that you made it for, which is perfect. And it's it doesn't feel out of place. I guess that's what I was getting at. It doesn't feel out of place in the scheme of what you guys do, which I think is important. And one thing you guys said at the beginning that I really respect, and I think is great that you stick with this, is that you just make what you both like. And all of these, we've done a lot of these podcasts, I've spoken to a lot of people over the years, and the one thing I notice is that the breweries who do the best make shit they like. They're just like, we want to drink this, so we make this as good as anything else with that passion. Kind of what you were joking about the milkshake IPA. You don't give a fuck about that. So you might not make as good of a milkshake IPA as maybe a brewery who, maybe if I was a brewer, I'd be fucking lactosing the shit out of it. I'd be killing the game. Because of it. Although, to be fair, milkshakes are what? So 2017. We're over those now.
Yeah.
They're gone. I'm sure
Tigers are back.
Lagers. It's all about the
Lagers
lagers
are
now.
back,
It's all about Crispies. So I think it's really cool, though, and I think this is like a really nice, compliment to everything else that you do. And I'm looking forward to the next beer as well, because I know that is a switched up version of one of the first, probably the first IPA that I had from you guys, and arguably the first one you did.
Yeah, it was the second IPA we did. Yep.
It was the second one.
Yeah,
Okay.
fifth beer. Yeah,
Yes. I remember.
And it was born from a strange mistake we made. I think the only mistake in the brewery where we had to kind of like flush a beer.
Okay. So
one of the first recipes, and it's actually it was a collab. That's the worst part of it. But we ended up doing that collab another time, and it went great. But so it was a collab with l'Espace Public with Simon, our great buddy, yes. And so we did this sour IPA, and it was one of the first time that it was the fourth batch, maybe fifth, or something like that, that we did on this system, and I wasn't really comfortable brewing with it, so I was just doing a little smaller batches, a little bit, and it was the first time that we had a kettle sour going on. And the morning after, when it got sour, we just turned on the fire on full capacity, full fire, and all of the deposit that went down to the kettle kind of burned down, and it gave this this cigarette butch taste to the beer, and it was awful, just awful. And so we kind of tried to pick things up and dry hop it like hell, and it didn't work that much. It was like hoppy, sour, and cigarette-ish. Like it was so bad. So we had to dump that beer, and it was one of the first. So it was hard on the morals. So but we brewed it again. It was great, and I just actually took the base of the recipe and took out of the sour part out of it. So it was actually just a big IPA with it was what Denali back in the days that we put in. Now it's Sultana. They changed the name of the hop. But now we completely changed that, and we kind of changed the recipe, and that gave us the Gawabunga that we're having right after this.
Love it. That's fascinating. I kind of think you may have. I don't know if we talked about that in the last pod, but that story does sound familiar, which is awesome.
Maybe not. Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
But it was a while ago. I think you might have just told me. As this way it sounds familiar. But
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to trying
off camera
stuff. You know the vibes. And I'm looking forward to trying the new version. But one thing that's been like, I know you said you've basically taken the label art that you had on the growlers and stuff onto the cans. But yeah, talk about the art, because I just feel like that. Jesus Christ, it's so burpy. I love it. So I feel like, is this the exact same art that was on the growlers, or it's a little different?
Well, you have the right can to show us, because that's actually a last minute art move. So that you see all of the rectangles there around the Moa. That was the original label going on the growler. Remember those like hanging from the neck there of the growler?
Yes.
And so it was so last minute that he just duplicated the label to make it that way. So it's actually the best example to say. If not, he just changed it over time, and it went around the can a little better than this. And we just can keep this one because it's funny, and I don't know. I kind of like it.
I think that's dope.
It's all the same dude. He's a good friend of mine. One of my best friend since, I don't know. I know him since I'm 16 or something. We've been in 2, maybe 3 bands together. We've lived together, and so I just know this guy by heart, and he knows me well as well. And so when we get to brew a new beer, we just sit down together, have a few pints, talk about life and shit, and then forget that we have to talk about this beer. So we just move onto this subject, and we talk about what I'm brewing. He gets me. He knows what's funny to me. He knows what colors we have on a can usually, so he knows where to aim. So, for example, we've got a Cascadian Dark Ale coming up soon, and so I don't know. To me, dark ales, hoppy ales, kind of tells me piney. I see the night owls. Why not owls on a lake? And it just goes like this. We're just inspired, and so the next can is gonna be kind of purple-ish, darkish, with owls, the moon, a lake, and pine trees, and that's it.
Nice.
So, and then he just has like all of the freedom he wants to he shows us a little this and that as a drawings and stuff, paintings, or even just sketches on the computer, and we always just go like, yep, that sounds good, that looks great, go for it. And Cedric is awesome. You can see his at for his Instagram link on the can. He's the best, for real. I don't want to change for anything else. Yeah,
I love it. That's really cool, man. I guess I'll sort of dial back in a sec. Yeah, it's super clean. It is. I like the consistency of it all. Gotcha.
Yeah, but he likes to explore some other style, just like us. I'd say he sometimes it's a collage, or how would you say that? Just stick some board on other, like the Bonne Humeur, Jesse. How would you say he did that? He just
with
glued
cardboard.
some cardboard,
and
layers on layers,
and glue. Yeah.
and he just it's just like a scan or a picture of this. So it's not even always drawings or paintings. He likes to explore styles, and so do we. So I think it's a perfect match, honestly.
That's sick. It's it just kind of really stood out to me, like sort of how bright everything was, and maybe it's because, like you said, on the can it's kind of perfect for this type of art, where it's wrapped around the whole thing. And I really enjoy, even just like, I know we're going to see more, but just like having this, whoa, look at that catch. The consistency here, just with the name parts, I really just like that, with the different colors, the color blocks and stuff, and you really kept it super consistent. And I think it's something that isn't spoken about enough. I like to bring it up often, if possible, during these conversations, because I just feel like everyone worries a lot, obviously, about what's inside the can, and that's obviously the most important. But something that Jesse said earlier, and you said it to me yesterday as well, like that, when you now are distributing these cans, you are one can in a sea of hundreds of others, and it does need to stand out. It is unfortunate. I mean, it's as a consumer, it's a good thing because there's so much variety. For the breweries, it's difficult to stand out for a consumer who doesn't already know you. If they're coming to your brewery, obviously they're there for you, and it's all good. But if they're going to a store for the first time, and they're like trying to see, are they going to just go to something they know, or are they going to sit there and check out every can in the fridge and be like, hey, that looks cool. What's this about? So it's an interesting thing, but I feel like sometimes can art is underrated in what that can do. You know what I mean? Like, it can actually be the differentiator between. I've had people say before, and I think I've done it as well. Like, you go out there, you're like, fuck, I don't know, man. Like, when I first moved here, right? Interesting part. I didn't speak French. I moved here and learnt French. I still don't speak it properly, but I get the point for the most part. And one thing I really struggled with was all the beer names were so French. And I was like, I don't remember any of this shit. So it was so difficult to. This is pre-Untapped days. So I didn't know what I had or hadn't had before, and obviously I'm doing the little. This is before the podcast too, so I'm doing the selfie. So I'm trying to try different things to learn and explore stuff for the purpose of taking the photos. But that taught me a lot about beer. So I would take risks based on the can art or the bottle art at the time. I was having in cans here, and I would just take the risk, and it would be the ones that sort of stood out more. Sometimes I remember the Le Naufrageur, like I got them because I was like, okay, well I know what they are, and if I just buy all the different ones, and eventually I'll get through them all because they had so many, they had like 20 or 30 different SKUs. It was crazy. So it would be like, I'll just get all of those ones because I'm buying all the different stuff. It's just easier because then I don't have to think about the other stuff. I just keep going back to them. So, but like I think now it's probably a bit different. People are going to just gravitate towards something. So I think that the label art is really important.
It's very important.
Oh,
I
right.
think it's very important. Yeah.
Which is
They say don't judge a book by its cover, but you can't go like, I mean, I totally get what you're saying, and I would do the same. I mean, and I do that for, let's say, wine. I'm not an expert in wine. I know what I like. I look at the label pretty much and the price, and I just take a guess.
Exactly.
And if it's not good, I'll try to remember the label as well. What I think that for beer is important for the label is consistency with the logo and every of their other cans. I like to know that they're the same brewery. If the logo is just hidden somewhere, it's hard for me to keep up and to tell that it's the same brewery and see the ability of the brewer to keep the consistency between the styles, and I mean the label as well. It's very important.
Yeah, I really agree.
Standing out is the most important thing, I think, in a store.
Oh yeah.
And how you stand out is, well, I mean, there's different types of stores also. In Quebec, we're blessed with great breweries, great beers, and compared to like Ontario, unless it's changed, in Quebec there's beer everywhere. So you can buy beer at a corner store. You can buy they're all just not in pharmacies as like in the US, to say, but we're blessed with that. And some stores are really good at having their employees just help out the clients, just help them out to know what they want and to kind of like guide them to purchasing something. Because like when you're in front of a sea of cans, it's hard to tell. And how do you stand out is usually by the label or by the reputation of the brewery. And having a clerk or a conseillère help you out is one of the major points. Yeah. Other than the can art.
Yeah, no, that's really true. I think now the move towards, like obviously what happened a couple of years ago and everybody now had to start canning. There's a lot of breweries, like you guys included, that didn't can before and had to figure that out really fast, which is kind of crazy. And then all of a sudden, I guess that means that the stores were flooded with product because our fine government here does not allow breweries to sell directly via their website, unlike Ontario and other places, which is very unfortunate, but it is what it is. We've had the specialty beer stores for a while, which is kind of cool. Ontario only just got them during the pandemic as well, but it's not the same level of volume. We have thousands of them here. But yeah, like to be able to now, there's just like an influx at the same time, all at the same time. So I guess it definitely has probably been quite the challenge to generate that. I guess it's sort of like awareness because they're used to you guys being in this growler. And they used to... Did you distribute the growlers beforehand, by the way?
Yeah, we did. We just...
Not as much.
Not as much, yeah.
Okay. So...
We didn't want to at the beginning. We just kind of like were hoping to have the bar permit as soon as possible to not have to... We were kind of like going through... This is a brewery in Ottawa called Beyond the Pale. And it's a great brewery, and they started doing growlers, and then until they had the permit to serve on premise, and then they moved to other things. But we tried to kind of like had the same route. We wanted to do growlers only in store, and then wait till we had the bar, and then just serve the majority into a pint because it's a lot easier. Like packaging beer is a bitch, man. It's not easy. It's risky. It's expensive.
Yeah.
And then distributing, and then so the whole other business side of it, which is not as fun as just brewing and talking to the client and serving the pint. So we didn't want to distribute, but then like because we got to pay back the loan, we kind of like had to, as soon as possible, move the beer, and it was kind of like in our best interest to do so. So we started moving growlers out, and it's easier to move cans out. Let's just say that. Keep it that way.
Right. Yeah, I don't recall seeing many growlers in most stores. For the most part, probably here and there, but yeah, I think you're right. Obviously, with the cans, and you didn't really have much of a choice. I always find that, and this is an interesting thing about the distro. And I'm not too sure about Quebec. I know, say in Ontario, like how if you went to, you guys are really all different, but say typically you go to anywhere, Judicial, anywhere, and you go there and you have an experience and you want to leave with some beer, but you can't buy it there. Like you go to the one on Laurier and you're like, oh, I can't buy the fucking beer here. I have to go to a store. It's crazy. Where everywhere in Ontario sells their own stuff. So you just go and do it, you drink the pints, you're like, I'm going to leave with a 6-pack or whatever it is. And and you can do that. So here it was always super frustrating to me that you couldn't do that. And because there was so much on-premise stuff there, when they went to the LCBO, like if a brewery went and put 1 or 2 SKUs in there, they might not make as much money. Exactly what you said, Jesse. It's a pain in the ass. There's the bureaucracy and paperwork and then timing, and will they keep it in the fridge, and will they take care of the packaging, and will they swap out the old stuff, and blah blah blah. There's a brand awareness that comes from being in the stores. Is that as much of a thing here? Like obviously people are going to come to the brewery, but that's you guys are in such a great spot that people could just be walking past and discover you. And be like, oh shit, that's what's up, So it's like not as difficult as say a brewery that's in like a industrial zone and they're not walk by you, they're a destination. So did you guys ever want to distribute for the purposes of brand awareness and maybe just getting more people familiar with who you are, or early on you just wanted people to come in?
No, it was mostly just so we had to, necessity. We wanted to distribute it as least as possible. Like now, as we have the bar opening, the terrasse opening up full capacity this summer, well, fingers crossed, that's going to stay full capacity, everything goes well. We're going to try to move out the least beer as possible. So we just want to sell as much as we can at the brewery. Okay. It's way better. You have the direct feedback. You have it just feels more natural than to have to put beer into a truck and drive it away. The growler thing, like you have a case of growler in a truck. If it moves in the truck, man, a 12 growlers in a truck moving, hitting a wall of the truck, it blows up, and there's a lot of it smells. Beer that dries on the floor of a truck, it smells bad. And vibration, there's just like little things like the vibrations. If you don't have the torque right on the cap and the vibrations in the truck, we have great roads in Quebec, it loosens up the caps, just little things like that. So you want to have it as close and the least distance possible between the
I think he's talking with experience there. There's a little
and jaded and rightfully so.
Have its problem.
I never thought about that with the growlers. That's crazy, and particularly these goddamn roads here. Like I never even considered that. I think that's a really good point as far as that. And obviously, yes, there's a much better customer experience when you're coming in. You can look one of the owners or bartender or brewer, someone in the eye. They'll tell you all about the beer. They'll give you a taster of it, whatever it might be, and you can leave with some cans or the growler or whatever there. Yeah. So I think that makes more sense.
Pressure, it's everything. Yeah.
The only good side I put. Oh, go on, Arnaud. You go first.
Yeah. We're not saying no to any other type of we might can time to time. We might, but the objective is to sell beer there and maybe do the release, the main part of the marketing around the terrasse and the tap room. This is where the fun is. We're gonna have I don't know, let's talk about what we did for the Sharks, the return of the Sharks with it, which is a collab that was great. It was so like a small activity, a small little event, but it was so fun. So the Sharks is a triple, just a triple, a Belgian triple with in collab with the Helm.
Nice.
And with mandarins, so 10% strong beer, really sweet. You don't taste the alcohol. It's very, very dangerous, just like sharks. And so what we did is this, we just looked at the movies, Jaws. We had Sharknado 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just right at the right at the tap room, and we had goldfish. This, the little snack, the goldfishes, cheddar thing. Just because
awesome.
on the label, our sharks look like the goldfishes. So it was just, we were just having free goldfishes, looking at shark movies, and it was just tons of fun. Getting drunk. Oh yeah, you get drunk fast with this 10% shit. Oh yeah.
That's dope. That's a fun idea and just like ridiculous, which is awesome.
So that's what we want to do. We want to have this marketing around what's happening there, and it's a small place, so we want people to get together and talk. And it was really fun. The really first opening before Omicron, having people in the tap room, and they were so close to each other with boundaries, of course, but I mean, people would just turn around and talk to each other from their seat, and it was really fun to see and pour beer for them and myself, and looking at that and saying there's hope. This summer is going to be great. We have plenty of room on the terrace, and I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah,
that's sick. Yeah, I love that.
We have the release of the jet lag pretty soon on the terrace, and we have some CF-18s going to fly by Prince Arthur there just for the occasion.
I love it. You guys are pulling out all the stops, mate. I love it. This is
yeah, man.
Not fucking around. You have to, right? You got to stand out somehow. Yeah, no, I love that, man. That's dope. I like that's like a clever way to sort of incorporate the marketing of a beer into a real life activation and event, which I guess doesn't probably happen a ton. And obviously, breweries haven't been able to. You've been handcuffed for 2 years as far as like 50%. Now you got to shut down. Now you can open. Now you can't do this, and blah blah blah. And all these different sort of often contradictory rules that didn't make any sense.
Exhausting.
Yeah, it's. I really, really feel for you guys and the whole industry. It's been pretty absurd, and I feel like everyone can comfortably say that we've had enough and ready, and really looking forward. Like, to be honest, I laid pretty low during all of this, and I was happy to do that. Our business took off and did a bunch more because we were online, and it worked out pretty well for us. So it was fine. But I was saying to Tiff, yes, I am so fucking ready, man. Like, the weather's been horrendous. So there's that. It's starting to come out. Like, really, really bad this year. Like, we barely left the house in January. I think my girlfriend left. We came back from Toronto January 2nd, and she did not leave the house until February 2nd. Because it was...
Holy smokes.
It was minus 30. We didn't have to, right? It was minus 30 every day. Every day.
Really cold, yeah.
So, like, I feel like the vibe I'm getting from people is that, and I feel like I've been a lot more sort of one of the more cautious ones, so I've just chilled out and been busier, but also been like, I don't want to risk this. Like, now I'm just like, fuck it all, let's go. I'm ready. Let's be out here. I think everyone knows how to manage the situation now. Yeah, right. So we know what's safe, we know what's good. We're like, all right, look, we can all be there. So I in a couple of weeks, I think it goes to be full. Well, this will come out after that, but I guess by the time this comes out, everything will be normal again. But I think in a couple of weeks it'll be full capacity, if I remember correctly. So then, that must be pretty exciting to be able to not have to have any of those restrictions, and you guys can just welcome everyone in and not have to cut it in half and all of that stuff.
Yeah. It's going to be like a little bit of getting used to having the social vibe again, but I'm pretty sure we'll adapt pretty quickly, and we'll get back on track there.
Particularly after a
couple of years. Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking that too, man. I've been to a couple of things like over the time. We did I did music. I remember shooting a music video, and it was one of the first times I'd been around like a bunch of people, and I didn't know what to do. It was outside mostly in someone's backyard.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, do we wear masks around here? Because we're all in this space. Like, what do you do? Do you just dap them? And by the end of the night, I was in Toronto, yeah, so I had to drive. I didn't even drink. And by the end of the night, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, give me a hug. And like, it was, you're right. And you loosen up a little bit and you get back re-socialized, I guess is the word. If you get used to it.
We're all human, man.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Feels weird, feels good, though.
It feels weird and good. Yeah, so like, I
just want to hug you guys now.
Yeah, I know, right? Fuck, it's okay, I'm going to come down, goddammit. Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I know, come on, let's do it. Virtual hugs. Yeah, it's going to be cool. Just to see people's faces in there again, and like that was something that we did that a lot back in the day. Obviously, you guys lived it. We're like adjacent to the industry. We're not right in front of it, but you know, we're involved in all the events, and we're always around and talking to people and coming to all the breweries often. I don't know. I just realized now that I'm like, man, I really miss that. So it's I feel like it's an exciting time, and it feels like there's a bunch of optimism and positivity surrounding the next sort of stages for everybody. And I just feel like it's the least that people can do for breweries, and just, you know, get the fuck out there and support now. You finally can, and you know, make up for as much as possible for lost time and lost revenue, and
there you go.
And just enjoy the shit.
I'm planning to. Not even just our brewery, but I'm going out, man. I can't wait to go around and meet some people. I actually just did that just before coming up here. I was at the local little pub here, little tavern, having a Labatt 50.
That's good.
There you go.
Oh yeah. The big, the tall one.
A little surprise for you, Arnaud, next time I see you Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
Labatt 50 themed. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, can't wait. And no, it was just talking to some older people, local people here, and it was just, they had a lot of tell. They had a lot. It was a little too much, but I mean, I didn't feel like a few years ago I would just could have gone up and walk away because it was too much. But now I was like enjoying the long monologue of those people, and I was like, yeah, go ahead. I'm down. I'm having my beer. Yeah, I'll listen. Yeah.
I like that. That's an interesting perspective too, man. Like, it's been so long, and normally beforehand you'd lose your patience, but now we're like, all right, you know, let's have these conversations, and like all of this has been cool. It's interesting as well. Like, obviously the other podcasts we've done have always been in person, and when we had a middle of a series when it all happened, and then that series had to the end part had to get cancelled because we stopped the older series and we changed it all up in the podcast, and then we were like, fuck, what do we do? Like, people used to always want to be on and like, oh, we could do it over Skype or whatever. I'm like, hell no, I am not doing that shit. Like, I'll do it when we get there. We have the equipment. No. And then as soon as this happened, I'm like, oh, fuck it. I guess I got it, don't I? So we had to figure it out and how to do it. And I've come to enjoy these virtual ones just because of the convenience for being able, because like, say, well, it's different for you guys because we're in the same city, but like, you know, if I was going to have anybody on, I had to be there. I'd have to be like, oh, I'm going to be in Ottawa, and then I'd set it up on these dates or whatever. But now we can pretty much, you know, do it whenever we want. We're all in our respective homes, so it's more like, all right, at the end, all right, boys, boom, and you can just roll into bed, and there's no other nonsense. So it's allowed more of that. But what is missing is the way you guys described it, is that, you know, sitting next to each other and actually soaking up the vibes and stuff. The closest thing I learned was drinking the same beer was the closest to that, because we're sharing an experience. You guys are the makers of the product. You're talking me and the audience through it, and that's pretty cool. I found trial and error. We used to not do it, and then it was weird. Like, what are you drinking? Oh, cool. Well, I'm drinking this. So let's talk about, like, it was just, you know what I'm saying? It didn't work. So it's, I guess it's just interesting to see the sort of pros and cons, I guess, of both sides. Like, you know, you guys were forced to can, but now maybe there's a whole bunch of people, say, in Quebec City who heard of Dispensaire, and now when they plan to come here in summer, they're going to make sure they come by because they discovered your beer in a store out there. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's a real thing.
And we're actually sharing one right now via internet, and it's thanks to that. Like, I mean, maybe a growler wouldn't be that easy to send and to. I mean, I'm out of town. I'm out of Montreal, and the brewery sent me a 4-pack by mail.
Shipped in a 4-pack
and
by
it got
mail.
here on time.
Thank you,
That's
Canada
crazy.
Post. Let's go.
Yeah.
We're last minute, so
There
it
you
was
go.
like, whew, express post.
It made
Got
it.
there.
Yep.
It's pretty
I
good.
guess in conclusion, beer
Yeah.
just brings beer together. Beer just brings people together. If it's
Yeah,
virtually or
exactly.
not virtually, it just beer brings people together. That's the important part.
It's so true.
I don't know about you guys, but during the first wave or second wave or whatever,
One of the waves.
in the beginning, I don't know about you guys, but I got kind of drunk a few times on video calls like this.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just you don't see time passing by, even if it's right in the corner of your screen. You're just drinking and opening cans and opening somewhat, and people that you don't see for a long time, you tend to have a lot to talk about, just like us, and
Yeah.
I guess, and when you're lonely for a few days, and then you get to see someone through a screen, it kind of just feels normal, I guess, to talk for a long time and chat like normal people would do in a bar or something.
Yeah. No, you're right. Some of these podcasts have gone for like 5 hours. When we
Yeah,
I'm not
We
joking.
adapt.
I have no
yeah.
I have no doubt. Yeah.
They went a little crazy, but it's an interesting thing because you just, like you said, you start just talking, you keep going and stuff. I try to keep them a bit shorter now because I don't think the audience has that level of an attention span.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry, 5 hours. You have to
We're
listen
having
to that.
fun now.
But it's like, yeah, you're right. It's been a way to keep things connected, and it's been a new way for us to continue to support the beer industry in a time when we couldn't go anywhere. Like, how do we keep this going? And it's figured out a way to do it, to continue to promote the products. And obviously, people were drinking more than probably you think during these times and stuff. And yeah, it's interesting. There's definitely a lot of pros and cons for both sides of it. So making the most of it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
On that, do you want to crack the next one?
Exactly what I was
Yes.
reading my mind.
Everyone's on the vibe. So,
You lucky guys have the Gawabunga.
yes, you had a different one.
You don't.
I have a different one. I have the Sunny Blaze. It's the nicest can I think we have,
Ooh,
or
that's
nicest artwork.
Yeah,
This
nice.
is beautiful. It's a 4.20% beer. The artwork is totally insane.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Oh yeah.
The one
printed on
thing
the
we have in
truck.
common,
Yeah,
yeah, it is. The one thing we have in common with this beer is on the Gawabunga, there's a surfer dude, and he has a watch that you can't really zoom in, but in the actual artwork, if you zoom into the artwork, the watch states 4:20 p.m. or a.m. whatever. And this beer is the same thing, but in alcohol, 420. So that's about it.
look at that. That's a good.
And I might add, the beers at the brewery, if you guys ever come by on Prince Arthur, our 4-packs are 4 for $20, and that's tax and deposit included. So that's pretty cheap.
That's that little suggestive
It's very tasty.
price right there. Very tasty price.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, look,
and
that's.
it's coming up next month.
I love that. I mean, that's. Oh, it is too. Yeah, that's a great value.
Oh, yeah.
For doing that. What's the reason for doing that? Obviously, 420 is hilarious, but
It's just because 4 for $20 is the
Always
best
is.
thing ever. I mean,
yeah.
who
How can
wants
you
to
go
pay
wrong?
$8 for a can of beer? No one. So
Nope. You, if anyone can get 4 for 20, I feel like you would be fucking stoked.
only on Prince Arthur.
Only on Prince Arthur. There we go. Good. I have
Yeah,
had this
mix
one.
and match.
You sure can, goddammit. Okay, so this beer here is 6%. The hops in this one, I'm just bringing it up here. So did it change from the? I mean, obviously this beer has changed. I mean, it looks a little different. a little
Probably
hazy.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Vic Secret. I think I used to brew it with Galaxy. Vic Secret is to me it's just been a little easier to come by, to find. it's pretty close to Galaxy. Galaxy is more hype, of course. It's maybe a little more intense, but I really liked Vic Secret, and we have Enigma as well, both from Australia. We have a lot of them in the dry hop as well. The difference, I'd say, that makes the difference with the color of the beer.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it, it's a little darker. It's not dark, but a little darker than the Moa. So the Moa
Yes.
looks a little more yellow white-ish. This one's more like yellow. I don't know, yellow.
Yeah.
The
right.
thing is,
Mango.
so the
Mango.
yeah, thank you, Jesse. So the base malt is 2 row, so just base 2 row barley malt. In the Moa, it's more on the Pilsner, so that plays a lot on the taste as well. Moa is really light, really subtle on the malt side. Gawabunga is a little more, not heavier, but a little bit. I don't know if let's have a taste and maybe you'll see what I mean.
Yes. Cheers. And I know Jesse, you tell us about your beer too, but get that in you.
Cheers.
Get it in, yeah.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Mm.
It's definitely. Well, I mean, it's only 0.5% more, so it's not that much heavier.
Yep.
But if you have the malt in and of itself, the profile is nice and like it's like creamier, I guess. Amazing head too. Really like that meringue kind of head going on.
Yeah.
Which I love.
That's a beauty there.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, what's the difference? Look, to be fair, I haven't had this beer for a while. It's glorious, nice and tropical and bright. What is the difference between this version? And I know you changed the yeast, as we were also talking about. What is the difference between this and the original version? I guess the original obviously was more clear. Yeah, it was a clearer beer.
We had a little trouble keeping the haze on the first version. It was the main goal, well, not the main goal obviously, but it was one of the main goals to have this haziness with all the hype around the haze. So yeah, like Jesse said, we changed the yeast. It helped a lot. We pumped up the dry hop volume of hops. And we might have changed a little bit of the malt, but I don't think so. I think it's pretty much the same. It's as I said before, the recipe with l'Espace Public, our sour IPA was kind of close to that, but sour with different hops. So just a grain bill. Let's say it's just a grain bill that it was similar actually.
Sick. Okay. So it's just sort of like a little more modernized, yeast, the dry hop ramping up a little bit.
And more stable, more... I kind of changed the recipe because I didn't have the perfect recipe. And I think I stumbled upon what I really wanted and what everybody was happy with. And I think we just stick with this. It's one of our best sellers. I'm really used to drink it. But people that we actually compared to other really more hype breweries than us, and we can find this beer in those cans almost. I mean, we're pretty close to those very high breweries, the New Englands or double dry hop something, and we're doing this but more simply, a little more drinkable, but very close. I'm really happy with it. It's not my type of beer. That's not what I like to drink in the sun on the terrace and or even in my couch reading a book. But I'm really happy with the result as well.
And that's what you want.
It's a bestseller, so I cannot argue with anything around that. It is good. It is refreshing. It's fruity. It's real fun to drink.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like the people have spoken then. If it's one of the best sellers, I mean, that says it all, right? That's what
there you go. Yeah.
Right there. So you kind of brought up an interesting point. Jesse and I were talking about this yesterday. And I think this is an interesting thing, and this applies to every beer scene anywhere, right? So for we were talking before about, like obviously the people who specifically go after the hype, because there's obviously different types of breweries who are specializing in different things, and not every brewery is going after what would be considered trendy or hype. That is a relatively new thing that has become a monster unto itself, I guess, for better or worse. And one question that I thought was interesting, and I said this to Jesse yesterday, because my problem is I keep getting into podcast questions when we're just hanging out. Like, fucking, I want to talk about this because I think it's just an interesting thing. It's like, how does a brewery who isn't intending to make hype beers, which is the vast majority of breweries, let's be real, not the majority of breweries are not making hype stuff. How does that brewery manage to, make a lane for themselves and fit in this world where hype is valued over essentially everything else by a reasonable proportion? Obviously not all drinkers, right? But a pretty sizable proportion of beer drinkers tend to be a little bit myopic in their style choices. They only want haze, they only want pastry stouts, they only want the real fresh crispies and the fucking smoothies or just really heavily fruited sours and stuff like that. It's obviously I love all four of those things.
Of course you do.
Of course, because they're all great stuff, But at the same token,
yeah, they are.
There is more to beer than just those four styles, and I feel like, there's a lot of challenges that any brewery is facing in this day and age, and obviously particularly coming on hopefully what's the other side of a 2-year situation that we've all had to sort of go through. I wonder how, if we could just riff off that, like, how can breweries try and stand out and maybe show people that, okay, so you want some haze? Well, we're drinking 2 examples of very different beers that are very drinkable, and like you said, you've compared them to other stuff, and I see exactly what you mean. I've drank beers from hype stuff that have very similar mouthfeel. Some of them have a similar opacity, flavor profile, and things like that. How does a brewery start to sort of maybe get some attention and get some traction when maybe they go to a beer store and they might be gravitating towards a certain handful of breweries every time?
It's a great question.
Great question. I guess it goes back to the marketing or the container. It depends on the consumer, depends on the region. Whatever floats their boat, I'd say for a brewery, as long as they're brewing what they want to brew, that's the most important thing. As they're thinking about themselves, to keep the passion going, to keep creating stuff, that's the most important thing. Other than that, the hype just comes with it. Obviously, now in this day and age, you have to be present on social media. Some people like it, some people don't. I think the hype comes from the social media most of all.
That's fair.
Because there's so many great beers in Quebec and Ontario too. There's great breweries. We just don't talk about them because they don't have the social media presence, or they don't have the marketing budget, or the marketing savvy, or know-how. So, but the beers are great, So as long as the passion's there and the beers are good, I don't think you should really care about that. And hype or not hype, it's not something you should thrive to look for. You should mostly thrive on the quality of the beer and having fun brewing it and having fun, especially drinking it. That's
exactly. Exactly. And what I think we're doing everything right, except for, actually, we're getting there on the social media. We have my little brother.
We have a shitty Instagram, but he's great. Yeah, he's hilarious.
He's good. He's hilarious. It's memes. It's just memes. It's just like repetitive about like, oh, the tap room is opening soon, and it's. I think he's doing a great job. I think it's just more about, for us, timing, maybe, and getting our shit together, because we didn't know on what foot to dance, because growlers switched to cans. It's hard to keep up.
And then
customers.
Go to a bar and stuff.
Yeah. It's hard to keep our customers aware, or the fan base aware of what we're doing if we had to change. So I think it's a little difficult. I think cans are part of a little hype. Like you said, Craig, the artwork is incredible. In my opinion, the beer is good as well. So we're not missing much. So what we're doing a little bit, we did that back in the days, and now we're going a little back to this, doing collabs, and I love doing that because it's just tons of fun during one day, and then I love to repeat that at our place if we brewed at their place, or vice versa, and brew there, and it's always really interesting to talk about how they brew and what they think about beers and this style and that style, and what they think of I don't know how they struggle with the pandemic as everybody did, and just have a few beers with really nice brewers that they know what they're doing, and yeah, it's so we're aiming to brew a few collabs. We're even talking about doing a little road trip to find a perfect road trip for collabs.
Sick.
And yeah, so just meeting other brewers that we didn't get the chance to meet, and so we're going there to meet them and talk about a few collabs and maybe do a few later on this year. And yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be tons of fun.
Where are you guys going?
We're both from Gatineau, so I think we'll go more east or towards Quebec City.
Sick.
Don't know where we're gonna stop. We're just gonna drive, and then when we're thirsty, we're just gonna like Google search brewery in my area and stop, and
see what's going on
until one of us can't drive anymore. So I guess
it'll be like,
there you go.
We'll be like 6 people, so we can go far.
We'll switch it up.
We should do kind of a. I think we should invite Victor there, my brother, a social media guy, and just kind of do a lazy documentary about us touring through a few breweries and do this kind of rock and roll thing that you see the real perspective of like hangovers, and yes, us brewer, we do get them. It's
what's crazy with these people is that they wake up at 6 a.m. the next morning and they go brew a fucking batch of beer. That's insane.
They're crazy.
Yeah, man.
Hey Craig, if you want to join the convoy, we'll be driving east. It will be like 2 or 3 cars, so you just join up.
Okay, you can just jump in and be like, "All right, boys, let's fucking go." Yeah, that's a really great idea. Yeah, I love the idea of the collabs. I think that's really smart, and like documenting it. We own a social media agency, so hearing anybody say that makes me very happy. I think that's a great way to let people want to keep up to date and see what you crazy bastards are getting up to. But Quebec City has some great stuff, and as you go east, there's a real we did it like in when the end of the first wave, when things calmed down. So it was like the end of summer 2020. We went to Quebec City again. I hadn't been there in years, and I was so impressed with everything there. It was great people as well, and just the beers were fucking fire. Like everything was so good.
We're blessed in Quebec. The beers, the breweries are so good, man. There's
best
so
in
much
Canada.
quality.
Yeah, I gotta be real.
For real? Wow.
I really I didn't say that up until maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Before that, I didn't think so, because we didn't have everything. Now we have everything. And we have everything on a world-class level. Before we had like the Imperial Stouts and Barrel Aged and Farmhouse and blah, blah, blah. We had all the Belgians and we had all that. But we didn't have the haze. We didn't really have the crispies. Quebec was really late of all things on crispy boys. It's fucking weird. Like, why are we so late on that? Now we're okay. Now we're good to go. Like all those different things, I feel like we're just, there's very proud to be here and to be drinking.
That's it. Beer tourism in Quebec is great, man. There's in Montreal, it's so dense. Like where we are in Mont Royal, walking distance, you could do a dozen great breweries just walking. You just go one after the other. And we all close at 3 a.m. Like I don't hate Toronto, but in Montreal, we close at 3 a.m. Well, we're supposed to close at 3 a.m. when everything is back normal. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so convenient. I actually forgot. I didn't. I was like, "What are you talking about?" Because it's been that long. I don't even remember the time. Because Toronto is 2 a.m. and here is 3 a.m. And I always find it when they get.
Okay, that's great.
It's 2, and they go like, I remember like it's 1:30. You're like, last call. It's fucking. What are you doing? Because we're here. We go there a lot because my brother's there, my girlfriend's family's there, and I always forget. But I guess it's been a few years since that's happened. But yeah, I like that a lot, and I think that's really important at a time when we were just like we were saying, we're all locked behind screens for the most part recently, and to be able to get back out there and go and visit people, and particularly if I imagine you'd have to set it up beforehand. You probably couldn't just rock up and do a collab, but if you're able to kind of go in there and connect with the brewers and owners and just
that's the point. Yeah.
And I feel I feel like a lot of them would be stoked. Everyone would be stoked. Like, hell yeah, let's go. I found like that's the coolest thing about breweries to me, is that everyone's willing and ready to work with anybody, and if it's going to make something fun and cool, and they don't even really think about the benefits of it. It's more just like kind of what you guys are like. I want to drink this beer, so I'm going to make this beer. You're not even really thinking of it from like, will this beer sell? Do you think this beer will sell 3x the last one? You're not even thinking numbers. You're just being like...
We just want to have fun, man.
So when you do the collabs, it's the same thing. Like, there's obviously a marketing benefit out of both of it. I love what you said. I know about, and that's the next beer we're going to drink, was one of the beers that you did in one place, and then they did it with you guys, which is a fascinating concept, and I'm looking forward to talking about that. But I think it'd be, it's just, I don't know, I think that it'd be really good, and I think that comes back again to what we were talking about with, like, okay, so distribution helps get your name out to new people, but if you're able to go to a place, it's only 2.5 odd hours away to Quebec City, and then go and do a few collabs out there, all of a sudden there's these beer drinkers there that are going into Brasserie Générale or Noctem or La Souche or fucking Grendel or any of those places that would just go in there and have these collabs from, who's this, the Dispensaire? Oh, Montreal. Oh, yeah, fuck, okay. Boom. And they like the collab, and all of a sudden you're on the list for the next trip. And like, it's a super organic way for that to happen. I think it's dope.
Exactly. You got it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super exciting.
I think the same, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, doing that is really dope. And like, it's the only industry that that people like want to do that. We doing the Nikita?
Soon-ish. I mean,
okay. I saw her.
Are you ready?
Well,
go ahead.
Oh no! I saw Jesse bust it out. We can do it whenever.
Okay.
I drink this.
Sorry, I was muted. Sorry. I'm almost at mine, but mine is like 4%, so it's easier.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll give it a few more minutes, and then we'll jump into that one. But okay, that's really. I think that's really good. And you guys are saying you've been doing more collabs there as well, which is great. I remember early on you were doing the stuff in this bus, because I know you had a relationship with Simon forever.
Yeah, of course. Simon.
Yeah. Simmer champion, such a legend.
I love it.
Yeah, it's
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
champ, Burlington, Ontario's finest he is. But it's cool because it's dope that you guys started off doing a bunch of stuff like that, and it keeps it going. Particularly because initially, obviously things have changed now, but being the type of setup you had, where it was just growlers, people might not have been able to go there to drink the beer like in volume.
Exactly.
Doing these collabs and getting that awareness from a brewery that's been around for, it's just celebrating 10 years, L'Espace there. So, you're able to capitalize on that cultural cachet and they drive some traffic your way and stuff. And I don't know, I just love that. I think it's just so cool.
And recently I had, this is a crazy idea. I had this idea about, we're talking about doing a tour, talking about collabs and eventually doing some. So touring is a little more in the music industry, right? So I had this crazy idea of, if you cannot do this collab in the state of art, that the collab is doing this kind of beer maybe twice, like the Nikita, or just once at this place. But how about if you really, really love this beer that this guy is like pouring at this tap room? Let's say anybody. Let's say Dunham, because we all know them and they're pretty good. So let's say I just go to the brewer, like, hey, I really love this. Let's say just the Cyclop one. Hey, how about I do a cover of this one? So this is like music-wise, it's well known doing a cover. Like everybody does a cover of popular bands like let's say the Beatles, like everybody did some cover of the Beatles or anything else. But how about like I just go like, can I do a cover of your Cyclop? And I just try to do it, and I just tell that I say that's the recipe of Dunham. This is their popular Cyclop. This is my cover. So it's how would you say like
Interpretation.
a what?
Interpretation. Your
Interpretation? Yeah,
interpretation of the
exactly.
cycle, yeah. And then they
So
can do the
that's
same thing.
how I
That's
do
novelty
your
right there.
recipe. Yeah. So I'm thinking about doing this, proposing this idea to other brewers, and I mean it may be a bad idea. Maybe nobody will want to participate in it, but I thought about this last weeks, and I mean, why not? I mean, if somebody asked me for a cover, if they do one of our recipes, like let's say the Moa or whatever, like sure, I'll give you the ingredients, do your own. This is like do it how you would do it, and I'll be glad to taste it. And I'm really curious about this one, and I don't know, it's just a
I
crazy
think
idea I thought of.
brewer to brewer is a great idea, I think.
Yeah.
From brewer to brewer is an awesome idea.
Yeah. I don't want to. This is a good thing. So in Ontario, this has been done, and it's Third Moon and Wood Brothers do what's called They call it a recipe swap. So Third Moon will do Wood Brothers beer, and Wood Brothers will make a Third Moon beer, and Third Moon makes the label in the way that Wood Brothers do their labels, but with their own logos, and then Wood Brothers does the opposite. Nice. So they've done that twice right now. So it isn't a weird idea. Awesome. So you've had the great idea independently of that. So I think it would be, I love the idea of the swap. So yes, you could do a cover, but it'd be cool if Dunham went and did a cover of Gawabunga or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have the next layer with the artist also having a swap too.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
it's like a whole creative. Exactly, like the layers of creativity are a little deeper. So
yeah,
I think it's a great idea, but no one here has done it. I've only seen it there. They've only done it twice, and no one else even there has copied them doing it. And because you had the idea independently, I think you should definitely pull the trigger on that. It's I love that you came up with that independently as well. That's even cooler. It's a great.
I didn't know that, but
check them out so you can see what they've done, like on Instagram.
Absolutely,
but I love the idea of positioning it as a cover. Like that's fucking dope. Like making it like a band, like you're going on tour, doing the tour thing, and then also let's do.
You can even play some music with that.
It's great.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
It's perfect. Yeah, you probably even could do some little involve some artists and do some music type of thing, like artists covering each other's songs that have got to do with the beer. It might be too bit complicated, but it could be done.
Yeah, everything can be done, man.
Yeah,
you know that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You guys have crazy bladders. I'll be ready.
Yeah, you go. I'll swap you because I was gonna do that when I got the next beer. It's gonna be a tip.
I can sing a song or something if you want to go as well.
I would never leave you by yourself. If I do, I'll run out. I'll ask you a question and get you to answer it, and then I run and I'll be back in 30 seconds. But we'll do it once Jesse goes. Yeah, man. Honestly, perfect. I think it's a really, really cool idea, and I feel like it's you'll be able to put your own spin on it and do it your own way without
I mean, I'm not surprised it's been done. I mean, it's easy ideas. A lot of brewers are musicians as well as I am, and I mean, some people have thought of that. I'm actually questioning the idea because nobody has done it. Well, nobody that I knew of has done it. So I was thinking maybe there's a reason to that. But if in Ontario, if 2 breweries did it, cool. Maybe it's a good idea, and maybe. I think maybe some brewers are loose enough with their recipes to give some hints about how to do a cover of that beer and how to do it, and it's obviously never going to be the exact same recipe, the same taste. I mean, it cannot be the same just because of the type of water, how old is your hops or whatever, and just the system, how you brew with the system. So I think like when you speaking of music, you don't want to hear the exact same song that you're like the cover shouldn't, in my opinion, be the exact same thing as the song that they're covering.
Boring.
So
Yeah.
I think, well, boring. Yeah, it's just like maybe for a little like a mic, open mic night at some bar or something. That's fine. But I mean, if you want it on your album, you have to add your little sauce, add your little vibe to it, and
100%.
do it a little differently. I mean, if you're more melancholic, more into IPAs, like add a little dry hop in there, and this is your cover of that type of beer, and you can adjust it as and same as you said, like for the artwork, like the artist can take this same idea and do it like its own way.
Yeah.
Its own way.
I
Yeah.
think that's a great way to put it. It's just like yeah, and I feel like you could give them the hints. I imagine you'd probably do it first with people you know. I know the Wood Brothers and Third Moon have a relationship.
Of course,
so
yeah.
Therefore, there's a trust, and therefore they can tell each other
Exactly.
small things. Or I actually don't know. Like, do they do that? I have no idea. But do they like?
Mhm.
Maybe they just like, you know what? Here's the sheet. Fucking go nuts. And here's the
Yeah, maybe.
here's like a 6-pack of the original can, so you can try our version if you haven't already.
Uh-huh.
And then remember, what they probably, because almost that's more interesting if you don't tell them, and you like get them to try it. Like it's like you give someone a bunch
Exactly.
of
Oh, that's cool. Like a game.
yeah, like a game.
Yeah.
Because then it's like,
Yeah.
well, I can tell you my trick, but then that's no fun. That's like breaking down
Yeah.
the secret. So you might as well like give it a crack and just see what happens. And I feel like that almost is more fun by the time that you see each other's final, with the packaging, with the beer, with the label. You're like, oh shit, look what they did. It's similar to ours. I see what you did there. And they've gone and done that. Like, oh wow, okay, I see what you did with this. Like maybe they could mimic it.
Yeah.
But maybe it's like, obviously if you do something here, there's a brewery in Quebec City, the water profile is going to be different. So the beer just can't be the same on the water alone.
Cannot.
Yep.
Never will.
It never will. So I feel like in and of itself, it can never be identical. So it's like, all right, well, what else, can differentiate it? I think that would be fun because I don't know the specifics of the Ontario version of them to know if they did any of those details. So I think that could be a nice little twist on the whole thing. That's sort of, a little going in blind. I don't know. That's fucking fun, man. And that's the whole point of beer. I love that. I love that. I feel like people here would be down for that for sure. And if you guys pioneer that as like a thing that you do, I feel like that could pay off very, very well.
We just might with the touring thing.
Yeah.
We'll think about it, maybe.
Yeah, it could be part of the game. I love it.
Yeah.
You want to Nikita that bad boy up? I'm gonna save this for after. Let's fucking go.
Yep.
So
it's a perfect introduction.
Yes. So I'm gonna come grab it so I'm gonna wash it. Do you want to tell everybody about this beer and maybe just explain the concept of what you did with Birra as far as it's a collab with Birra and there's two versions. So we're drinking the Dispensaire version that was brewed at your premise, the ale version. I'll be back in like 30 seconds. Let them know.
Sure. Yeah. So what I like about doing collabs is like we just said, doing a cover of whatever the brewery is doing. Now we just worked together on a recipe. This is collaboration, right? So we did this Baltic porter. It's well known for being a lager, a strong dark lager. On the malty side, more on the chocolate roasty. And what we did is, well, the guy, it's Birra with Dispensary. The Birra guy is also the owner of Silo, which are very well known for their gorgeous lagers, really good lagers.
Oh yeah.
So what we did is that we shared the same recipe, but instead of doing lagers, we did the ale type. But we chose a type of yeast that could go a little below the natural ale temperature, or higher even. So we did it with a Nordic Kveik yeast. So we kind of did it. Kveik is supposed to go like ferment at 35 degrees Celsius. Um, so we brewed it with Kveik, but at around 2021. So it's like if we did a lager with that Kveik, we used it at a lower
Kind of.
temperature that is supposed to ferment, kind of. So it's an ale because it fermented at around 20, in between 20 and 25 degrees Celsius, and but we did it 1% alcohol higher. I think theirs is
7.5.
0.5. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
So
there's a
8.5 for us. Um, Speaking of the label, it's a little different. Just the colors are different. If you look this lady is in red. The lager version is in blue.
Blue, I think, yeah.
Yeah. And so their version is on more on the brown side. It's a little lighter. It's
Yes.
way lighter actually. The color.
It is
Way more.
definitely.
Yeah. As you said, I think Craig, in your descriptions, it's more crisp. It's roasty crisp,
Yes.
very light, very well balanced, easy drinking. While ours is more around what we're used to in Quebec, a little heavier, chocolatey, still roasty, still easy drinking, but still easy drinking. Everything's easy drinking when it's good, but I mean, it's more on the cherry side.
Yes.
A little more dessert. I would say more dessert than crispy.
Very much so. Yep. Great. Great comparison. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Nice nose. Yeah, this is like, it's definitely, you can tell it's heavier. Obviously, it's a full percentage.
Yeah.
8.5 to 7.5. It's definitely got the everything exactly how you just described it. It's like chocolate cherries, and even though, forgive me if you explained this while I was in the bathroom, but is it the exact same base recipe, but the yeast changed? Okay, cool. So you got the same malt base, same everything, and just
to have this little higher percentage, we there maybe have a little one pouch or two more base malt, but it's just the switch to one brewing system to another, and I just wanted it to be a little heavier as well. So it's
gotcha.
basically
So it's
the same
intentional.
recipe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, intentional, totally. Yeah.
So you could have kept it at 7.5, but you were like, now let's ramp it up a little bit, because a Baltic Porter is typically a little higher ABV, I guess.
I think it's the way he did it, Jean-Philippe, is more interesting for the lager type, and I kind of had to switch a little things, a little more malt and stuff to have the same satisfaction. But for on the ale side, in my opinion, I think it was a good idea to just add a little more malt in there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just put two and two together now. Sorry, go please.
Yeah, they're quite similar. They're not that far away. Like while tasting them side by side, and this was really interesting. It's really interesting exercise because the recipe is so close, but the beer is quite different, but close at the same time. I mean, you have the same roastiness, the same chocolate, the same background. But as you said in your Instagram description, I think it's ours is more fruity, theirs is more crispy.
Yes.
And like whatever you prefer is best. I mean, I sometimes I prefer theirs, sometimes I prefer ours. Like now, it's getting a little late, and I prefer this type of beer at this time. I mean, it's dessert. It's
yeah,
a little sipping beer. It's fun.
I think that's a really great point because it depends what mood you're in. Their one, the Birra one, drinks like it's a 5% black lager. And
Exactly.
it's insane how crazy that is, and I think it's more fitting because that's what JP does with Silo specifically. He's crispy new, that's his thing. So to me, that made sense. I forgot until right now that you worked for Circus Sail, which is JP's old brewery, for for a long time. So it was like I didn't even consider the connection there. So I think that's even
7 years.
Yeah, so it's like
we've worked together for 7 years. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I think that's cool because they're coming back, and you've been running the show out here, and I know it's a nice little full circle thing, and him coming to collab with you with the brewery that you know the head brewer out with with the team here, and then doing this other version of it for their 6th anniversary, which is super cool too. Doing this, I thought this was one of the most creative things as well. I really loved the fact that you guys did this. The same beer with the different different yeast. I don't recall ever seeing anything like this before. I thought this was fascinating. Really, really impressed, guys. It's fucking great. So like, I feel like this. It's a unique product. It's a unique approach to to a style like this. That like actually, I wanted to ask with regard to. Oh my god, my computer's like not charging, and this thing is hot as a motherfucker. Okay, let's chill that out for a second. I'll be fine then. The Baltic Porter, are they meant to have lager yeast, or do they have ale yeast?
That's a perfect question for the occasion. So porter is an ale, as we all know, from the UK. Okay. So the recipe came from the UK, and they kind of exported it to the Baltic Sea region.
Okay.
So they kind of bring the porter recipe to the Baltic Sea region and told them how to brew it, and then they kind of did it on their own, and which is the lager kind of tradition in this region. So it's basically how we did it, right? So we brewed one kind of recipe, and the other adapted it to how they're used to do it. So Silo is used to brew lagers. We love to brew lagers, but it's a little more difficult to afford to brew it. So we're more into ales, and that's pretty much how we did it. So both works. Traditionally, Baltic Porter is neither or.
Okay, that makes sense. I didn't know that. I just thought it was like a cool style to do something like this for. And now that you've just explained the history, it makes even more sense. It's and it's just like interesting. I feel like it's underrated too. Like in a time of like I was really excited when I saw that this was what this was. I just thought that was like such a dope concept, and I feel like porters are incredibly underrated, and I really appreciate them as a style. I really enjoy them, and I like that the mix of ABVs, and like you said, right now this is our final beer. It's like a treat, it's like a nice little dessert treat that's sweet enough, and I like it having a beer like this because you don't even need a piece of chocolate if that's your thing or whatever, because you're getting that, you got liquid chocolate right here type of thing. Which is super cool. Yeah, and the fact that you played to maybe the strengths of each of the breweries that are involved in all of this was just very, very cool. And then of course a full circle moment. So man, I love it. I think this is super dope.
That's it. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, it's great. Is this going to be something
in there?
No lactose? You don't need the lactose with this.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right.
I think in the history of our brewery, we bought one bag of lactose once, and we didn't go through everything.
And that was for the milkshake?
We wrote half of it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that the milkshake?
Yeah, it was a one-off. Yeah, I remember that. That was a funny story.
Yeah, the lactose thing was a big deal for a while because everyone used to get so mad about it. So like I played, my friend and I, we just played it up. We're like, all right, we'll fucking go hard for lactose just because if it pisses people off, let's go.
I remember the hashtag, the hashtag Team Lactose.
We have a Twitter account.
Team lactose.
No.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
we have
Come
at,
on.
at Team Lactose on Twitter. We're not as active as we used to be, but we were just promoting lactose beers because people got so
Dear
mad
Lord.
about it, and it was like so like guys like now everyone gets mad at
worked.
smoothie
It
sours.
worked.
It worked, and now everyone gets mad at smoothie sours and stuff and
Yeah.
shit. So we're like,
Yeah, we're moving directly towards the only lactose and smoothie sour brewery. I haven't told Arnaud yet, but that's the direction we're going to.
I'm going to use that
Nice.
as the clip.
Nice
I'm
to
going to put
hear.
this on Instagram.
No, please don't. Please
All right, whatever floats your boat, man.
Hey man,
I quit.
well, I won't put that part in. Yeah, it's like the lactose stuff. No one gives a shit. Like it's cool. I think it's going to be used as a tool in in the right circumstances. It can be.
It's an ingredients. It's okay. I'm not mad at it. I was mad about all the hype and like how the really tasteful beers were just let out, and I mean how sweet were the beers, and it was too heavy. I mean, I couldn't really enjoy a lactose beer. It was too sweet. It was. I mean, I
Well, when
get
you
the
go-
idea. I liked having a little sip, a little taster of it. It's really interesting. You can have many ways to use it. Even in smoothie, I have nothing against smoothies, except I never want to brew one. It's too dangerous. It's dangerous, man. I don't want to go in there. I'm too scared of it. But
I had
yeah,
smoothie for
I mean,
breakfast. That's about it.
yeah, there you go, and then you can add a little Nikita in there.
There you go.
And you
Yeah,
have
I
it
for
for
a
vodka.
morning.
That's it.
Yeah,
So you start your day.
there you go.
Yeah. Only on weekends.
Yeah, so like it's just something I'm never gonna do. I respect everything. I respect every brewer that respect their art, and I think that's what the this business, not the business, but actually the all the work is all about. It's having fun and liking what you do, and
Whatever floats
I'm
the
really
boat,
happy
man.
to exactly, and I'm really happy to do what I do, what we do at dispensary, and I think that's what's important with the brewery.
Yeah. And there's something for everybody, and you guys are providing like a nice sort of, to me, it feels like kind of like a middle ground, though, like in a good way.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm glad, that to be the middle ground. I love to be the middle ground.
I think it's an important place to be, and I think it's sort of like undervalued. Like, you've maybe got the more super gateway breweries that are doing just like the color wheel, blonde, amber, brown, blah, 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 that type of stuff. Then you got the full trendy side to the, on the other side, the smoothies and the haze and blah, blah, blah. And then in the middle, it's sort of like you're catering to a number of different tastes, whilst all of your things at the same time are still very gateway in the sense of like, it's very approachable. If you're bringing a friend to come and sit on the terrace this summer, obviously I would be completely satiated with everything, because that's the problem. If you're bringing a non-beer friend somewhere, you're like, oh fuck, now I gotta go somewhere where I'm gonna be happy, but I don't want to scare them off either. So you gotta find a middle ground. I feel like you guys give everything that a beer nerd would want, but you've got something like an ESB, which is a classic style that's super approachable. You got the lager that's coming soon as well. Everybody wants a lager. All your IPAs are super flavorful, but they're not over the top. And then you'll be able to convert a lot of people into beer, I think, with the stuff that you're doing. And isn't that?
So it's a balancing act. Everything is like it's got to balance everything out.
Yeah.
You got to cater to everyone.
100%. And I think that's so important, though. Like, if people aren't catering to the new people to bring them into beer, then what do we do? Then we're just circle jerking to ourselves. Like, it's just all of us. Cool. We're already fucking beer nerds. Cool. Yay. All right. Good. But we need to grow this thing to bring in more.
Or else, or else we'll just be brewing seltzers all the time. So then we're fucked.
So Dispensaire, La Dispensaire seltzer. When's that coming? No.
Never, ever,
Smoothie seltzer?
ever, never, ever. No,
Even no.
no.
All right.
We kind
I don't think
of
so.
we kind of talked about it for 5 minutes maybe, and
When it's
in
not,
all
yeah.
of this era of seltzer
Yeah.
that came by, and we talked about it for 5 minutes. We got pissed,
And we're like, nope,
and
not happening.
we just kept seeing people going by out of the dépanneurs and with crates
White Claw.
of White Claw and stuff, and we were like,
Yeah.
should we do? No, we no, we're never gonna. How can we go there? Like, we're not even close to like the smoothie sours and stuff. How can we go to seltzers? There's no way.
I
There's
mean,
no way we can do
well,
that.
there's the World Cup coming up in November. The soccer World Cup coming up.
Yeah.
So I guess the games will be, our time will be in the morning. The only time we'll be serving smoothies will be probably while we be broadcasting Team Canada soccer games on TV, and it's going to be actual fruits, no alcohol in it, and you can have a smoothie if you want.
Maybe I can
11
bring
a.m. Watch Davey score a couple of goals, and let's go Team Canada, boy.
And we're good to go. Okay, maybe I'll bring a White Claw and
Yep.
pour the White Claw into the smoothie.
Yeah,
We'll
you
call
do
the
you, mate.
police.
I don't mind. I'll give you a little sticker for your White Claw. I really don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do a White Claw. I can't do that. So.
We're doing traditional smoothie.
Traditional
Traditional
smoothies.
smoothie.
How they used to do
Exactly.
it back in the old country.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't, I'm
5
not-
years ago.
like 5 years ago, pre those ones. I'm not mad at the seltzers, but I don't drink them myself. I'm fine,
no.
completely okay with it. Like, if you want to do it, it's cool. It's,
Yeah.
obviously, it's not beer; it's a beer-related product, I guess. But
I guess, yeah.
it's. I noticed the same thing. You guys said that with the dépanneur. Like, in the last couple summers, we live right next to the mountain, obviously here, not far from you guys, and I'm gesturing towards the park here. And we walk through the park, and I'm like, every person is drinking some sort of a seltzer. It's actually phenomenal. Like, that.
That's
Category.
McGill, I think. It's the
Hey,
McGill American kind of vibe,
Yeah, I can see that. Is it so? It's not common everywhere in the city.
I couldn't say. I
Okay.
just kind of like where we are situated is like a McGill ghetto, so a lot of Americans. Maybe that's why. I have no idea how else seltzers have picked up or not. Maybe it's just like a 1-year trend or a 2-year fad, and it's going to disappear. Time will
It
tell.
might. Yeah, that's true.
I'm around like 2 hours driving from Montreal right now, and like I said, I was at the bar earlier, and there's no seltzer anywhere around, not even in dépanneur. They're still on the Bud Light, which is like not better, but
No, it's not.
but I haven't ever seen any seltzer at any parties in the summers or anything. It's anything but that. So I think it's more a urban thing, more student thing, perhaps.
cheap
American, why not? Yeah, I don't know. It
A
never.
lot of calories.
I haven't.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I haven't seen any breweries, Quebec breweries, doing seltzer. Really, have you, Craig?
I'm just having I know that Echo did their own one called Ellipse,
Yeah.
which was separate. That was all using like Quebec ingredients. So I was trying to keep it super local.
Cool.
As far as other ones, I can't think of.
Schlag does some.
Schlag, you're right. That's true.
Much like,
Yeah, I have a billboard in my springtime in front of my apartment there.
Okay, beautiful. It's mostly Ontario breweries like that I can think of that did it, not really
Yeah. There
Quebec
you
as
go.
much.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and that probably aligns more because Ontario definitely feels more American. At least Toronto feels kind of more aligned with that type of vibe.
Just by the language, culture,
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
Language too, and just sort of what translated there, and like it's almost like it's become a hipster drink because it's like cheap, high alcohol, and you can't taste the alcohol, so you can drink them and get fucked up.
Local.
And local, so it's like
That's the thing.
hardly any calories in the things. They're tasty. They're surprisingly tasty. they're not my thing. I'm a beer guy. Like beer is what I want to drink, but I'd have one, I guess. Like I've bought with breweries,
Yeah.
sell them. I'll always
Why
try
not?
one. I'll try it. Like
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it. We did a podcast with a whole
Mhm.
brewery. There's a contract brewery in Ontario called Equals, and they started their own seltzer brand. So the thing, so they sent a bunch of that. We did a podcast, and I only drank seltzers. I got fucked up. I could not believe how drunk I was at this podcast. I didn't even mean to. It was just a normal like hour and a half podcast with this dude, and we were just like, I just got trashed. I don't know why. Like it hits you in a different way, and I think there's sort of, you know, maybe it's just the way that it is, and just I don't know. Maybe there's been a solid marketing campaign behind them to make them sexy and appealing. And
For
that
sure,
type of
for
stuff.
sure.
So, you know, it can cross over. I think most of the people who would be drinking from the Dispensaire don't expect to see smoothies or a seltzer or anything like that from you guys. So I think you're pretty safe.
I haven't even looked how to brew some. I mean, I'm not interested into. I mean, I think I've tasted one or two. I don't even know what's a good seltzer. I mean, it's.
I couldn't even. Really
I've tasted one. I know what it is, and that's it.
Because they're all
no
natural
interest there.
flavors. Like it's harder to get the actual flavors. I know Third Moon. I keep mentioning them because they're friends of mine as well. But I know they did some. But I don't know if they use, because some of them use the fruit puree that they would use in like a smoothie sour or a fruited sour or anything like that, and you can use that to flavor them as opposed to those natural flavors that you have to put in, which are just like those fake flavors. So it's really all about getting the best ones and then mixing the right ones together. So it's like some science shit in a different way. It's its own thing. I guess we'll see this summer whether it's a fad or not, whether it's a temporary thing. And I'd be curious.
Totally right.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about seltzers because you look outside and you see 8,000 feet of snow, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not really thinking about that, you know. So it's not that much of a concern right now, but we shall see. I just want to take the thumbnail for the video and take a screenshot because my camera's going to die. I'm just going to switch over to the other one. So I want to take that while we can. So do you want to hold up some of the beers there, and we'll take that screenshot for the.
Take the most out of it.
What do I got here? So looking at 3. Yeah, fuck yeah. Okay. Hold him up. Oh, you got him. You got him.
Come on, Jesse. You got it.
Got it. Oh.
Nice.
All right, beautiful. Got that in. So, was there anything else we specifically wanted to make sure we touched on? We're hitting about 2 hours 15. We're looking pretty good. Yeah, was there anything else we wanted to make sure we touched on? Or you feel like we kind of covered everything for this evening?
I think we covered everything. I don't know about you, Jesse, but
Yeah, did I miss anything? Oh, you muted. You're pulling at me. Oh. Yeah, see if I can't unmute you. Oh. Oh, he's gone. He was cutting out. That's why. It's like, oh, what the fuck? Yeah, he's had a few
yeah.
It's this program.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. See, he's right
That's
back.
all right.
Nice and easy. Yeah, it's an easy fix. There he is.
Nice.
Is that better?
There you go.
There you go.
Better.
Perfect. Was there anything else
Yeah,
we wanted
sorry, my headphones died. So
Oh, that's right.
There you go.
Was there anything else we wanted to cover, or we feel like we tapped everything that we wanted to get
I
into?
think we tapped everything. I just have half a can to drink left with this porter, and it's great.
She's a beautiful thing. Now, this has been really great, guys. It's been really cool to catch up with you both and to have you on finally, Jesse, and to see you again, Arnaud. It's great. Really impressed with you. Like, I'm just really impressed, man. Like, congrats on everything, both of you guys. Like, the quality of the beer is fire. The cans are it's cool. I know it's an annoying situation, but I think I really hope that it does open up the market to some new folks and you know, get more awareness to what you guys are doing. And you know, now this summer with the terrasse, and then you're gonna do the road trip and some collabs. I don't know. I feel like, and then even just really interesting the recipe idea and all that stuff. I just feel like you guys are really making some cool decisions and some fun, creative stuff that you know, it's going to bring more attention and just keep people coming through. And I love it, man. I'm happy to see it. It's great. I love seeing the growth over
Thank
time.
you so much, C, man. I love you. I love your work. I love how you talk about beer. I love how you you ask the right questions and you're right on time. And I mean, it's always a pleasure to talk with you, man.
I appreciate it, man. It's cool to see all the growth, man. Like, you know, like I know, and I met back in what was it, 2017, maybe
it's been
16.
A while.
It's been quite a while.
Yeah.
You're one of the people I met at the very beginning, and it's cool because you're such a young dude, like working all the way up. And when you move to Dispensaire, I was like, man, you're a head brewer at your age. Are you fucking serious? What are you like? It's amazing. It's so cool just to see the growth. And
Nice.
you moved on to this new project. You're still running the show there, and you got this new cool project. It's a separate thing, but I love hearing about it. It's cool, man. I love seeing good people just continuing to thrive and win and just do fun, creative shit. So love it. I think we should do this.
Thank you so
Do this
much.
more often. Let's not wait 3 years next time. Eh?
No, come by and come at the brewery, and we'll make a tour and take some typical open mouth
photo.
pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
And,
That's the only way to do it. Yeah, man.
yeah,
I'd love to let us know when you're
it
back in
in,
town, and we'll get all the exact.
Yep.
We'll get it in us. I'd like to see it
Absolutely.
again because I think it's going to be very, very different, and I want to check out that fucking the beer garden too. It sounds amazing. So, congrats to you both. Where can everybody find you both online, or find Dispensaire online?
Online, we have Instagram. I think it's dispensaire.micro, and we also have Facebook. We have a website, and ideally find us at 102 Prince Arthur Street East in Montreal, Metro Saint Laurent or Metro Sherbrooke.
Yep.
Thanks for having us. That's pretty much about it. That's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Great night.
It's a wrap.
I would say.
I love it.
There you go.
I'm going to wrap this up. Stick around afterwards. We'll say goodbye after the call. It's going to wrap up the recording part. So both of you, once again, thank you both for hanging out, for having this great chat. Really appreciate it. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed that. That was fantastic. If you enjoyed the episode, mate, smash the thumbs up. Hit subscribe below. Hit the notification bell so you know when the new drops. Follow us on social media at BAOS Podcast. Check out the long form audio. We go live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. You know the fucking vibes. Watch that shit. Follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you find good shit. Give us 5 stars because Jesse and Arnaud are attractive. Give us 5 stars just for them. We'll see you sexy motherfuckers in the next episode. Get it in you.